Do you know Army?
Do you know Army?
Do you know Army?
Welcome back, everyone, to WWARMYTV. I'm Sarah.
I'm Mako.
Zoe.
And Buana.
And we are here speaking to you in 2022.
2022.
Happy New Year.
Wait, I said that wrong.
2022.
2022. All right.
That's right, we're not in the second century. Sure feels like it sometimes. So.
You may need some coffee.
Okay.
Yes, we are waiting on a pot of coffee right now. But we're going to have an exciting episode today. We have noticed that we make a lot of speculation oftentimes in our podcast. And we thought, why don't we just make a speculation episode?
Yeah.
And put out all of our theories.
Yeah.
And talk about everything we think that's going to happen in 2022. And we're going to review it at the end of the year.
Oh,
See
yeah.
what happens.
See if any of it came true.
That's a wonderful idea. And it's not like we don't have enough material to work with.
Right.
Yeah, plenty of
got a
content
lot.
to work with.
Who wants to start?
Where should we start? Should we start with the guys? Should we start with the agency?
Ooh.
You got something to say, Constitution?
Girl.
This is a speculation podcast.
This is
No
speculation.
bars hold.
Well, I think I thought of having a speculations podcast, especially after 3 of the individuals sold off stock, sold off shares, and we talk often amongst ourselves, like Sarah just said. And I thought, man, we talk about this and we talk about that. I wonder what is going to happen in the upcoming year. So maybe we can start there. Everybody's thoughts about why they sold off, the time in which they sold it off. I think it's very interesting that they did it now, kind of on the heels of so much changing with the agency. That is the most interesting part for me.
Okay.
And I think one of us mentioned, I don't know who it was, that hopefully they sold off some to actually get a bulk of money together to maybe start something of their own or invest in, you know, just, I think big hit entertainment, big hit music will always just be home for them. They hype, or I take that back. Namjoon hypes hype. He hypes hype. He wears, sweatshirts with hype. He always mentions hype, so forth and so on. I don't see that from the other guys. But he hypes hype, but I feel like Big Hit will always, it's their agency. It's their agency.
Right.
It will always be home for them. It's always close to their heart, just like it is for any army that is close to our heart. So hopefully I'm thinking maybe they took that out to actually invest in what their next step is. And what their next step is. I would like for it to be Big Hit. I would like to, or their own, startup or something.
So to understand it correctly, your theory.
Have y'all been introduced to Mimi's mini accent?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is to they taking this large sum of money to kind of make another big hit so the boys can go back to their roots.
Well, there is a big hit, and I feel either that
there is a big hit.
Or invest heavily into the big hit that already exists.
Have y'all noticed that I've been seeing big hit on stuff lately?
When did I notice that?
I've been seeing big hit on stuff lately, not high.
What I noticed was, and it was probably they're all since the agency switched over, was big hit / hype or big hit plus hype or something like that. But big hit's name included and not just hype.
Right.
Where have you seen this?
I don't remember last week.
I've seen it on different things. Like,
But I've seen big hit recently on different things.
Like I read Weverse magazine a lot. Which
Uh-huh.
I absolutely love Weverse magazine. Our guys do interviews for Weverse magazine more than anything. And at the bottom of that, I never noticed when you get to the end of that article or when you get to the end of something they put out or a tweet from Big Hit, at the very bottom it says Big Hit / hype or something like that.
Now, I fully acknowledge that we could just be over speculating when it comes to the stocks, because to be fair, they could be using that sum of money for any length of things. Who knows if if they wanted to get some really big holiday gifts this year, right? That's definitely a possibility.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's
or a continent. I mean, I'm not saying it's all to buy one big gift. I'm saying they could have just wanted some extra money over the holidays because I don't know.
Well, I mean,
what their contract
if they wanted
is
some
like.
extra money over the holidays, they had it because I think a couple of members sold their property.
I didn't see anything about them selling their properties.
Oh, a couple of members sold their property.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I think it was gin and cookie.
Okay,
Yeah.
so realistically, these boys are millionaires 15 times over.
But they
Right.
forget it often.
They don't have to sell off, in my opinion. They don't have to
Wait
sell
a
off.
minute. Did you say they forget it all?
Yes,
they
they
do.
forget that they're millionaires.
They don't have to sell off, in my opinion, they don't have to sell off anything unless they want to buy somebody a mansion. Then I can see them selling off
Or
a
an
big,
island.
huge chunk. Or an island. But they're millionaires 15 times over. Each one of them. So I can see us, divvying in something because we need extra money because the holidays are upon us. But I don't know. I mean, I respect your thinking on that.
I see. Well, my theory is I see some solo projects coming up. I definitely see that in my future. In the future, I see some. I do, and I'm hoping they give it to us. I'm hoping
I'm just
we
saying
get.
that
You think that's
it's-
where the money's going to come? That's what they're wanting the money for? The extra funds for?
I moved down.
Oh, okay. That's what I was trying to determine. If you went on to a different subject, or is that
I
tied
moved
into
down
you
'cause
saying?
we ain't got no idea. I don't have no idea.
Yeah, that was my speculation of why
Okay.
they did it. That's the only thing I could come up with. I'm sorry, Sarah. What were you saying?
I mean, I'm just thinking there's like so many different things you can do with that money. Like in general, I don't think necessarily that they may not have to use it all in one thing, because Hobie just donated some money to charity again.
Okay.
And I remember the boys do that often, so they could have
They do.
taken up that sum and bought some Christmas gifts and donated to charity and did whatever. And we know that several of the boys have siblings that have businesses.
That's true.
Again, that could have been, Christmas gift, invest some in your business, that kind of thing. I know that we're going to do an episode on what we want to happen, so I want to separate what we want to happen and what I think
Where we're
probably
speculating,
happened.
yeah.
But I think it's worth acknowledging that they did sell a lot of some stuff.
around the same time. I mean, just weeks apart. That's it. That I think if like Namjoon had sold off some stocks in October, I don't think that would have been big, huge news. But the fact that 3 of them did it weeks apart, that hit the limelight. That is what threw up some flags.
That's true.
So, yeah. So
What y'all doing with y'all money?
big things. I'm hoping. I'm hoping big things. And the fact that you don't just wake up one morning and decide to sell off some shares. You don't. Not that I have any, but you don't. That is a move. That is a financial move that you actually contemplate and get consultation on. I would think. So I'm thinking they didn't just wake up one morning and do this. It took some time. It took weeks. It took maybe a couple of months of thinking and deciding, and how we're going to do it, and so forth and so on. And that for me is why I feel like this came closely on the heels of the big change in the agency. Because they didn't do it a week after the agency big change. They didn't do it 2 weeks or 3 weeks or even a month. But a couple of months later, they did it. That to me is also a red flag. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's their stock speculation.
Yeah.
Now, the next speculation, do we want to get into military stuff now or later?
Let's dive right into it.
All
That's
right,
fine.
military.
Yeah.
Whenever we, especially lately, after we got back from the concert, and around concert time, one of the main things that we had other Army bring up with us is our opinion on Jin's military service.
That is a lot. We
So I
don't
know
talk
it's a
about
hot
that
topic.
amongst ourselves as much as other armies
Yes,
do. Other
I noticed
armies are
that.
always talking about it. Like I mentioned to you guys recently that at work I finally met an Army. She came to me, and the first thing she asked me was, "What do you think about the military? What do you think about Jin's military enrollment that's coming up?"
Oh God!
So they
Do
think
y'all
about
know
it a
how long
lot.
we've been talking about this?
I know, for years.
I think
For
we as a group
years.
stopped.
No.
talking about
I'm
it
just
because-
talking about as a whole, as an army.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about this and stressing about this, and just have this. It's like this dark cloud hanging over our head for years.
Yep.
I'm over it. I'm so over it. If he goes, he goes. Great, wonderful. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Great, wonderful.
But that's the thing too. I think I personally think that's one of the reasons why so many Army that we meet will bring it up. For us, it's not huge news. One, just because we've talked about it before, and two, for us, if they go to the military, that doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't.
But I'm not accusing any Army of anything, or I'm not judging them of anything. But I know that some Army know that if BTS goes off to the military, they may start to lose interest, like that Army themselves. And I feel like that's partially why so many Army are like always panicking about it.
What the hell?
Wait, you think that the boys would lose interest?
No, that the Army, that some Army is going to lose interest.
Oh,
But for
I
us,
do
it makes
know
no
that
difference.
Maybe the boys, because of what Namjoon said at the concert, maybe the boys might be worried Army will lose interest
Bye.
when they go to the military.
Bye, because you one true Army. If these boys go off into the military and you lose interest, bye. See you later.
That's how I feel about it too, and that's kind of why, like, we haven't brought it up within our personal group that often, but I do know that just because the nature of some Army that is in the group, and again, for me, I'm not judging. Like, you can be fans of BTS in whatever capacity you want, as long as you're not a jerk. And that's my opinion. But yeah, I know that some Army is going to go, and I feel like that's why, as a whole, everyone's panicking.
I'll also say this about Jin Stans. Jin Stans ain't going nowhere.
But yeah, Jin Stans ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. I don't think, in my opinion, losing interest and actually jumping ship is two different things. Because if the content slacks in the 2 years that Jin is gone, or 3 of them are gone at one time, or all of them go at one time, if the content slacks, out of sight, out of mind is a human nature type of thing.
Yeah.
True.
So losing some interest and jumping ship for me is two different things.
That's true.
There will be some interest lost. There will be some passion lost, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be regained. Are there individuals that would jump ship? Absolutely, because again, that's human nature also. That's human nature also. People's interest flicker, within seconds, much less within months and years.
Yeah, but I still don't think it would affect anything. It's just too many of us.
But at this
As far
point,
as the size of our family.
Yeah.
at this point, I don't think that he's gonna go.
And I really see a lot of the people jumping ship would be the younger ones.
They've gotten to the point of making them ambassadors and giving them so many things and titles and all that. Like, at this point, I don't think that he's gonna go.
Yeah, so here's speculation. That's what this whole line of situations have been, right? This has happened. They set this in place with all of these different type of privileges the boys have now gained. I don't think that was done for no reason.
Yes, I again, speculation. I truly believe that if it hasn't been fully decided, like, I truly believe that there are people, like several people, actively working on exempting the boys from military at any given moment. So I truly believe that. I think that as dumb as some of these organizations who are against the boys not going, like, have been at some of the discussions, I know that the ultimate decision makers are also aware that whatever they decide for the boys does set a precedent.
Absolutely.
So I honestly think that is what's, like, holding up the final decision the most.
BTS is a precedent. It's like they're still young and we got to give them some more years, but you can literally put them in the category of the greats. They really are a special. It was just like the stars were aligned and everything that was supposed to mix them all together and mix us all together, it just happened.
Yeah, they are living icons. Nobody can deny that.
So, like, as great as other K-pop idols have been and as popular as other K-pop idols have been, the gap is too big. The gap is just way too big.
To say, if they did it, why can't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The gap is just too big.
If everybody want to be like Mike, everybody can't be like Mike.
Everybody can't
be like Mike.
And we brought this up when we were talking about it, like, us personally, when we were just hanging out. it'd be one thing if, you know, the decision makers had never exempted anyone creatively.
Correct.
But it's the very fact that they have already exempted people for way less achievements. That is the reason why, at least I personally am so vehemently for exempting the boys. And to be fair, on top of that, I also say if the boys want to go, then they should be allowed to go. That's what they want. But I still think that even if they decide to go, that they should be exempt anyway. Like, I think that is a gesture that they deserve.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I don't think anybody in Korea except fans of other K-pop groups would disagree with you. Because they went from nobodies in their own country to, like, icons in their country. So whereas people were originally saying no, they should, and now are saying something completely different. So they have definitely captured the hearts of their own country. And I don't think anybody would disagree with them being exempt because of not only what they're doing worldwide, but what they're doing for the country as a whole.
Yeah. You can't actually look over that. You can't invalidate
You can't
that.
ignore it.
So a political career and a military career is two very different things.
Right.
It truly is. However, when you have a political career, especially in any capacity, you're serving the people. You're serving your country. You're serving not yourself, but you're serving your country. And when you have a military career or do any stint in the military, same thing. It is not mandatory to have a military career to go into politics. It's not. And vice versa. So I feel like I'm saying all that to say I firmly believe that, and we're speculating, so here's my speculation, that they will be completely exempt because of their ambassadorship that they're doing.
And
I feel like they should be.
Just look at Jen's face. Does he look worried at all? Like, does he look like, oh, I got the military, stemming in the back of my... Every little thing that they didn't put in place for these boys, all these special privileges they've acquired, they taking them.
I also believe that Jin, his personal attitude is probably the same as yours, where he's just like, people have been asking me about this since I was like probably 25.
Literally.
I don't care anymore.
Right.
I don't care anymore.
Right.
Especially
because Jin is going to be the same Jin no matter where he goes.
Exactly.
If he's sitting on the couch or if he's in the military bunk. So he's going to be
He's
the same.
a cute little officer, wasn't he?
He was.
So ultimately, we don't think he's going to go.
No.
I don't think
we
any
don't
of
think
them
any
will.
of them are going.
I don't. That is our. I guess as a group, that's our speculation.
Right.
That we don't. I don't think they're. And I think it would be justified because they are serving their country. It was wonderful. President Moon put that in place before leaving office because he will leave office this year, but he that was one of the best moves he could have made for this country and to because that's going to help in the argument in Parliament or wherever they argue at. That's going to help in that argument.
I think he's definitely
him and his wife definitely are.
And they've done all that they can do to kind of preserve and protect the boys from creating this like little bubble of political situations to kind of protect them because going into the military is kind of a political thing.
Yeah, and to wrap like that whole thought up, we also mentioned that the boys with their amount of fame, they very much could have chosen to be selfish with it. They could have chosen to, and again, I'm not judging other K-pop artists, but there's been plenty of really big K-pop stars also who have only done moves to benefit themselves and or their company, and the boys chose not to do that.
Right.
They chose to do so much more, and I think that also earns them at least some points. And anybody who's speaking against it are just jealous and stupid.
Yeah. Period.
The last thing I read about the argument in the political arena, because I don't know what they have. I don't know if they have Congress, Parliament. I don't know what they have. But was that the same group that had objections before brought up their objections again. And where it was left was we're going to get more of a feedback from the popular opinion. And if they do that, oh my God, the popular opinion is going to say, leave these guys alone. These guys are, so, yeah.
I mean, because at this point, really?
If the boys' achievements aren't enough to get you exempt, then what the hell is?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got to walk on the moon? I don't know.
Which they have been in space because astronauts have played BTS.
Yes, they have.
So
Okay, so
Do we have-
that's our military speculation,
Yeah, that's
and I don't think any of
speculation.
us are worried. I don't. Is
No,
anybody
I'm not.
worried?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think.
concert speculation.
Concert speculation,
Cheese
right?
and crackers.
Let's get
Well,
into that.
what do we think about March? I think I really hope March happens for them. They need it. K-Army needs it. Not just like we went to LA. We weren't the only ones that benefited from that in LA. The world benefited from that because everybody had the opportunity to actually see them get their mojo back live and in color.
With real audience.
Yeah. So that was, if I had not gone, if I had not been blessed to go, I would have been over the moon to have watched it and seen them in front of a live audience again, because that's what we've been wanting for them.
Right.
That's what we wanted, because they become different people. They become
really
different
do.
entertainers when they are in front of Army and they're in front of a live audience. So I really want March to happen for those reasons.
I don't think the numbers are up or anything with them.
No, I don't think the new strain has reached Korea. And 3 of the boys have already gotten COVID over this holiday, so it's kind of like the worst case scenario that they had already happened. So I would think, like, what is the point of not having it?
Right.
Right?
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
But I do know that they're going to err on the side of caution.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
So it's hard to say. I think that right now, like as of today, it's a 50-50 because of them being overly cautious. Like
Right.
that's behaviorally how they've been acting.
I want them to have it.
We all want them to have it,
Yeah.
including them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I want them to have
Army,
March.
I want you to
because
have it.
I think after March, after doing it here in the States, and then after doing it at home in Korea, I think that's going to set more of a precedence of, okay, so how now do we do a world tour?
Yeah.
So I think after that, then they'll start, deciding on that world tour subject. So besides them doing it in March, I think that the trial run in LA and what I see as a trial run in Korea will set precedence for them to move forward and try and schedule out a tour, a world tour, which is ultimately what we all want. They want. So what and so. But I speculate also that once we finally, as a family, get that world tour again, it is going to have a different vibe to it, because these boys still went into the pandemic as appearing and with an air about a still boyish air about them. No traces of that is here anymore.
No.
I don't see any traces of that. The only boyish traces that I see amongst anybody is Cookie, and that's understandable because he's still the magnate.
Yeah.
And it's not boyish traits that I see in him. It's youthful traits, meaning the way he is developing his health, his mind, his body, his surroundings. He shares more with us like his animals. Did y'all see these 2 new pups today?
No.
He got 2 new ones. I think they're Doberman pictures, just like the other. But yeah, and so that youthful part about him, that's absolutely fine because he's still extremely young. But as far as the other guys, there's just such a maturity there that was not there 2 years ago. So I think a world tour is going to have a different kind of vibe. That's what I think. That's my speculation about a world tour to come, because they are different men now. They truly are.
I feel like the older members definitely have this air about them of they just don't care anymore, which I really like, because I mean, did anybody else do a double take at the concert when Namjoon just yells into the mic, "Fuck COVID"? I was like, did I hear that correctly?
I know. I looked at. I was like, I swear I hear Namjoon say, because she was like, yes. I'm like, what? Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
And they just shared everything with us. So I really don't think that they're worried anymore about anything. I think that what is true is that even if it is a different vibe, I'm still reassured that they don't care about anything except for us and them.
Us and them. Yeah.
Which is what
Just like it
matters.
always was. Yeah, which is what matters.
Us and them. I also feel like it's going to be kind of a different vibe, because we've always maintained, if y'all have ever listened to our podcast, you know that we've stated the way they give concerts in some areas, they give differently in other areas. And when they're here in the States, we are extremely used to them just getting down and dirty. I don't know what other way to call it. And I honestly don't know if we're actually. I don't know if we're gonna get that right off the bat with the world tour, because they are different men. I don't know. Yeah, they don't care. I agree. They don't care as much as far as public opinion. Yeah, they don't care as much as far as that is concerned. But because they have a different air about them, I just feel like the flow of the concerts are going to go differently. It's going to be amazing, just like LA was. I just feel like the flow of them are going to go differently than what we got when pre-pandemic.
I know that this is complete wishful thinking, and it may not happen, but I would like a COVID cipher. That would be cool.
That would be
Wow.
And they could start off with Namjoon saying F COVID.
I know,
A
right?
COVID cipher.
That'd be hilarious. I do know that
we.
we have a new album coming, and that's been confirmed officially.
It has.
Should we move on to that? Because I do have
I think that's
speculation
a
about
good
that.
segue.
So, I was thinking about. So I don't know if everybody read their interviews, their Vogue interviews, and the different things that they were saying. When I read Namjoon saying that he had gotten so used to having the mindset of the current trend, and that he no longer, that's a part of him that is no longer exists. He doesn't have the mindset of the current trend anymore. That in me immediately put in mind of, he's either going to go back to his roots, which we've been begging for, go back to, what he grew up with and loved and latched onto in the very beginning of his career. Or he's not going to stay with the current set and sound that we've been getting from them during this pandemic. And that brought me back to Petey Neem. And Petey Neem leaving and saying, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go back to my roots. And I put those things together. Again, this is speculation. And I'm like, I think this album is going to be a lot of Hitman Bang and them, and just getting back to creating what they created in the beginnings.
Yeah, instead of what's the current trend, I feel like they're definitely now thinking again of, well, what about what I like?
Yeah.
What I just like to make. And I mean, if anything, this is like, they have the most power they've ever had to just do that. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with them. Just why don't you just make what you like?
I really want them to get. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like, they set the trend now. Mm-hmm. They are the trend. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
and on top of that, you wanted the eyes and the ears. Maybe not our guys, but somebody, the agency, Petey Neem, whoever, wanted the eyes and the ears of the world. You have it now, so start putting out what brought in millions of armies to begin with. Start putting out what shines through within your talents.
Yeah. I want them to go back to their roots. I really want them to go back to their roots, because this bubblegum cotton candy image thing they got going on. I like to watch a lot of reaction videos, and one thing that also kind of sets BTS apart is the amount of male fans that they have, versus just female fans. And a lot of reaction videos I watch have been from men, and they're like, kind of scratching their head at Butter and Permission to Dance. But then when ARMY starts bringing up, oh, well, look at Deja Ta, look at this and look at that, they like, oh, snap. Like, it's a completely different, they all say the same thing. Is this the same group?
These are not those same guys.
Dude, I just saw like butterflies come out of it. Like, is this the same group? Yeah, it's the same group. And I thank you for the season of what Permission and Butter and all of that is. Thank you for that. But yeah, I definitely want you to go back to, I call it grown.
And that's my speculation. That's what I predict. I predict that this next album is going to satisfy a thirst that we have wanted for quite some time, that we've had for quite some time.
That's I agree with your speculation.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with liking that that very bubblegum pop kind of image that they were fostering during the pandemic. But I think that what I don't like about it the most is that it's inauthentic. Like,
oh, girl, that's it.
yes,
That's
I think
a
that's
perfect
what
way to put
everybody can agree on, is that it's inauthentic.
Oh.
And that's why it's the same thing even before BTS. Having that image even in just Korean K-pop culture was inauthentic. Like, it's like it's the musical equivalent of you just living a life where you're sugarcoating everything. You just pretend that everything is butterflies and rainbows, and it's uncomfortable for everyone in the room. It's weird.
It's weird.
My
It's
eyes
weird.
are literally tearing up just listening to you say this. Because
Yeah, that was like,
what they have given
yeah.
us, and let's call a spade, as Mimi says, what they have given us over the past 2 years is what new idol groups put out, and old idol groups still put out this made up image of what of what K-pop is. And it is an image. It is a K-pop image. Our guys never had that image.
never.
From the very beginning.
Never.
They stood apart from that image. And over the past 2 years, that's what they've given us.
Yep.
They've given us that image. That was a revelation for me when as you said
That was,
that.
I could, girl.
That
That
that's
was perfectly put.
So not only the content of the music, not only the lyrics, not only the songs that are really good. They're good, but they're not outstanding, and they're not
musically challenging.
they're not
They're just
outstanding.
not, like, they just don't feel authentic because they're not as human. Like, they just feel like the equivalent to me of saying, like, a dancing Ken doll.
Yeah,
I don't want to see
yeah.
a bunch of dancing puppets on the stage. I want to see, like, we're here for our boys.
And
They
we've
don't
never
have
had
the
that.
same deep messages that
Yeah.
they used to.
Exactly.
And we've never had
Exactly.
that. But on top of the message, not just the lyrics, not just the message, but the performance itself.
They're not
It's
excited about
completely
it. I'll tell you that.
It's different. And it is because it is that polished up image that the pop artists, not just K-pop, J-pop, US pop, that pop artists have to personify. It is that polished up image that we've never gotten from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Dynamite and Butter and Permission to Dance, that's the type of image you have to give, because those are the type of songs they are.
Mm-hmm.
And pushing the type of goal that it wanted to push. You know, it was a pandemic, worldwide kind of, you know, what are we going to do to bring the world together kind of feel.
Right.
But yeah, and with that, you have to give that polished image. But we've never gotten that from our guys. Everything has always been genuine. Everything has always been them. Everything has always, I mean, stop and look at how we've always talked about them at Asian award ceremonies. How they were set apart, how they just performed differently, act differently, vibed differently from every other artist and every other group that were up there, even all the way to the ending ceremonies. You know, they were the ones that stood out because they were authentically themselves. Even at these tuxedo wearing ceremonies, they were authentically themselves. And the 2 years of the pandemic, they were a polished version of pop artists.
And you can have they've shown time and time again, you can absolutely have like a happy, energetic, upbeat song that isn't just like whatever polished pop like typically is. I mean, how many times do we jam to like On Pond Man or
Oh
Go
my
Go?
God,
Yeah.
I love her.
Yes,
Or exactly, they have
yes.
plenty of actually happy, fun songs that are still authentic in their different in their
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
On Pond Man is a great example.
Yes.
And I
A
never
great
once
example.
looked at Upon Man like a pop song.
But
No.
it is. It authentically
It
is.
technically
It
is.
Yeah.
Technically, some of
It
their
is.
songs are pop,
Yeah.
but they're still authentic. Like
Because they're
still
so well
from
put
them.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
This,
Let me tell you, P-Dog, that man is a master. He's a master in his own right. He's a genius as far as how he arranges music for them. It's just
but to go back to our speculation, we assumed that they did all of that because they wanted to break into the U.S. market. And
But we were told.
Yeah.
Remember the podcast we did probably 2 or 3 ago when we started talking about Hybe and the new controllers of Hybe? You know, we were told that in that article that they had a conversation and it was agreed that this was the best move. These were the best moves for the industry, for the agency in the industry.
And that's all fine and good. Let's wrap it up in a bow and never look at it again.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that was that era.
Yeah.
And I don't mean error. That was that era.
We're done. Now I've been digging a grave for it.
Era.
We'll call it the pandemic era.
Yeah.
The pandemic era.
Bury it and never go back.
Yes. Yeah.
But I will say it's pros and cons because I feel like we now have a lot of expectations for this new album.
We do.
Oh my goodness, yes.
We do. Mimi,
I
you
swear
want to
to God.
speculate on the new album?
I
I did my speculation.
I want grown man music. That's what I'm speculating. Grown man music. I'm expecting Yoongi and that rap line to give us everything we want. I'm expecting some solos on this album. I want everything. I want each member to have a solo and then a rap line to have a song.
You want to go back to the Wings
And
era
then
where everybody had a solo.
And then
Yeah.
And then
Is there a person on this planet that doesn't want to attend the Wings tour? Because
I know
everybody does.
that is just But at this LA tour, we got some of the Wings.
We did get some of the Wings.
Yeah, we're
But
sidetracking.
on the album stuff, so I finished In the Soup recently. In the Soup 2, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a part where Yoongi is working in his little trailer studio.
Mm-hmm.
And he's working with Namjoon and Cookie. And they're talking about it. And of course, just like they love to tease us, they let them talk about the album on the show, but then they bleeped out everything that had to do with the song. You're just watching Cookie sing silently. And it just kills you. It just kills you inside. But Yoongi did say, he's like just spitballing stuff with RM, and he was saying stuff like, what do you think about this beat? Or what do you think about this one? And RM's like, I really like that. Then Yoongi says, oh, we don't have a lot of performance songs yet. I really want like an energetic performance song. So, I mean, I feel like they are in the flow.
Putting their heart into it this time.
Of creating
that
it.
would be great.
I'm
And
excited. Like my heart is going to drop when they release this album.
I'm excited for the album, and then I think that by that point we'll probably have a fairly good idea if we're gonna get a concert this year.
Yeah, I think so, because we'll be past the March concert, the anticipated March concert. When I think about their creativity in this new album, I think about things that certain ones of them have said. Hobie has shared with us his insecurities about where he's going with his writing and where he's going with his music, and how he feels like I was going in this direction, but then I wanted to go in this direction, and now I'm just a little bit off kilter with it, so I need to regroup. So I think about that when I think about the putting together of this album. I also think about what Namjoon said when he shared with us, I was used to going with the trends, and now I'm away from that. What the heck did that mean, Namjoon? Does it mean what we want it to mean? And then I think about Yoongi also. At one point, at the beginning of the pandemic, I think after Dynamite came out, and there were questions so much about, never said you're going to do an English song, and da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. One thing that stood out for me and will always stand out for me with Min Yoongi was when he shared with us that there was a time in his career where he would write out of aggression and out of anger, out of fear and out of sadness. And that is what he ended up putting out. That is the type of material he ended up putting out. And now he just wanted to actually flip the coin and put out more lighthearted, more inspiring, more, he didn't say sunshine because that's never going to come from him.
Right.
But the exact opposite end of the spectrum when it comes down to his writing. He said that after the Dynamite era started. And I thought, oh, does he have to say that because of Dynamite, because of what's being put out right now? But as I'm saying this, I'm saying all that to say, as I think about them starting to go into this new album, the writing of it, I think about all those things that each of them have shared with us as far as their writing fears, their writing insecurities, their writing changes goes. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what we get from this.
So that makes me think they're going to be the most nervous about this album.
I don't think they could be more nervous than what they were with B. Because B was them. Yeah. They were extremely nervous about that. And I for one am grateful that B did as well as it did. Because I was nervous about that, about it reaching the levels of what their other albums had reached. And it has done well. It's done outstandingly well. So I think they were very nervous about that. So you've been really quiet
I don't have too much to say.
about speculation.
Yeah.
You don't speculate about anything as far as they're concerned.
Other than what I've said and what you guys have said, I personally have nothing to say.
Okay.
Yeah, but I am excited. Regardless of what it is, I am excited for the next album. Love it or hate it, I'm ready for it.
Okay.
I'm ready for it. I will never forget when we sat down right after B came out to do our B review. That was interesting.
Given some of those songs at this point have grown a lot more on me now
Oh yeah.
than they were before.
It is amazing how an initial review
Yeah.
is then when here we are almost 2 years after B, how we feel about certain songs.
It's just proof that people change.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you specifically with Telepathy, I was not vibing with it when it came out, and now it's all I've been playing these days.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And I don't know why. That's how it is.
Yeah, I like the songs that I originally liked on it. I still like.
Yeah.
I still like, and I have some of them on my playlist.
And what
So
you
are we going to
mentioned-
do a review of the next album?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're absolutely going to do a review of the next album.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What you said about Yoongi and his writing, I agree with what he said, because if you compare just August D's first album and August D's second album, I love them both. But they definitely have completely different vibes.
They are different.
He is way calmer in D2.
And not just that, the first album, his solo album, had a certain message, and it was just him. It was just him. It was him taking a huge chunk of himself and laying it out there. This next one, it was more. He put more of an artistic feel into it. He went beyond his emotions and his life story and his whatevers, and put a more artistic spin on it. And because those songs, you got De Chata, and then you got People, and then you got there's a huge contrast. Then you got the one with about the best friend, and there's a huge contrast in a lot of those songs. So he put a more of an artistic thought and feel into it. I do believe.
Yes, I will say I always love that everything about the solo albums they always put out is just so them.
Yeah.
So them.
And I feel like it's going to be interesting. If I'm going to be so upset if we get another BTS album before we get Cookie's mixtape.
Well, I mean,
Cookie, where you at?
I'm used to waiting.
Well, you know
Waiting for
what?
Hobie.
I say this lovingly because he is my bias. That boy is all over the place.
He is.
So I will not be surprised if it's like another 3 years, because you know what? We've been waiting for this mixtape for how many years, since before the pandemic, and here he is getting another 2 dogs. So
Yeah, what you doing, man? You out dog hunter.
I wouldn't be
Literally.
surprised if he gets 5 more different kinds of animals before he
Yeah.
puts out another song.
Yeah.
Even, and I say that with love.
I mean, we waited for a maximum amount of time. I hope he started working on Hope World like a gazillion years ago, and we got the itch for Hope World like 2 years before it was released. And then we waited so long, but then it ended up being such a masterpiece. Like, I listened to that from the
But it also
start of
became
it to
like
the
a
end of that month.
trend, like to
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah, of
"Where's
the anxiety.
mixtape,
Yeah,
Hobie?"
the anxiety.
Yeah.
trend.
Even Jimin joined in, like, "Where's your mixtape, Hobie?"
Yeah.
Because Jimin's the biggest fan of Hobie's
Yeah.
mixtape.
So we need to start the new trend. Where's the mixtape?
Oh
Hobie?
yeah, we have. Yeah, I think everybody has jumped on that bandwagon. Not as much as Where's the Mixtape Hobie, because they were doing. Army was just all out on the ledge doing videos and whatnot towards that. But I think my point is, we waited so long, and Hope World ended up being a masterpiece. I expect great things, young man. I expect great things.
Absolutely.
After all of this anticipation, so.
I'm just ready for new music. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm ready for new music. But, okay, so album speculations wrapped up. There was another big speculation that's on the tip of my tongue that we were wanting to talk about. What was it?
Yeah,
Another big topic. So we've covered military, concert, album, agency. We haven't gotten to the agency stuff yet.
Yeah, I was about to say agency, but then I thought, no, we talked somewhat about
We
the agency
touched
at
on the
beginning.
agency.
But you must have a deeper thought.
Here, here's like the leading question then. Where do we think the agency is going to go in 2022?
I know that you two have mentioned that, and I think they even, because it was even speculated in an article, that they're the agency itself, Hive. Let's differentiate on who we're talking about. We're talking about Hive. That it is trying to pull away from their handicap of BTS, and I think they view it as a handicap. Like if these boys were to fall off the face of the earth, so would we. So what is our next big thing? What is our next big hold? And I think they're feverishly going towards that. What is going to be our next big hold? Well, they should. Because honestly, and here's my huge speculation for this podcast, I don't see our guys doing another contract.
Yes.
I don't either.
Yes, that was a big thing
I
that we
hope
do need to
not.
mention.
I really hope not.
I don't think so either.
I don't see these 7 grown men doing another contract.
And for context, the contract's up in 2024, the current one.
Yeah. And think about now. We're at the beginning with the first day. Happy New Year's, everybody,
Happy New
again.
Year's.
With the first day of 2022. 2 years down the road, I don't see them dealing with Hive the way they've been dealing with Hive for 2 more years and still signing another contract. Because to me, and I think they fully feel this way, we're going to sign with Big Hit, but we're being controlled by Hive.
And
I don't see them.
We've established that I don't think they like that control.
No,
and everybody knows, and Hive's not even trying to hide it at this point. Hive is not here for the boys.
Obviously.
Hive is a corporation.
and they're looking for their next big thing.
Yes.
And they should because you are a corporation now.
But that doesn't mean that you should abandon your current big thing. I will say that even as a business move, that's stupid.
What they're doing is they're taking the lemon and they're squeezing as much out of it as they can
Before they lose.
before they
Toss it
and
aside,
making as
yeah.
much lemonade as they can out of it before it is done up with. But what they don't realize is that these guys will never be done up with. They will never be done up with.
Yes, because all of the, and Mimi, you've been saying this for years about the kind of people that they were funneling into Big Hit, the kind of mindset that they were bringing into Big Hit before it transformed into Hive. Now, a majority of these people come from that background and mindset of, the quote time limit on K-pop idols.
Yeah.
And they truly treat them like Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
Or something. But
and I've seen it.
And we've seen that all over the place.
I've just seen it recently. I was watching some video, and you can tell whoever the management was off into the distance was doing something because it was bothering Cookie and it was bothering Tay. And they were trying to conform to whatever the manager was asking them to do, to the point where Namjoon looked at the manager, he looked at them, and he was like, "Come on over here. Don't worry about them. Come on over here. I'm in control. They not." So already these mindsets coming from these other companies are the same, and
I don't see them signing on another 7 years for that. No.
yeah, I think that Hive is now another one of the big entertainment companies, and that's how they're going to perform. And you know what? I don't think that that's necessarily going to make them fail as a company, at least not in the near future. We don't know about long term, but I think that we can definitely, unfortunately, expect from them to be the same as the other companies moving forward, especially with the groups that they put out.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think I confirmed before the new year that they are debuting a girl group this year.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, not only are they debuting an Asian girl group,
Yeah.
but they are starting the worldwide search for a worldwide girl group.
Wasn't that
a
a decade ago?
No, they just put this out, a month ago, of that they're going to start worldwide auditions.
What were they starting a while back? I could have sworn this is like the...
I think that they opened the previous ones to worldwide, but they still end up ultimately choosing only Asian.
It was always men. It was always men. It was always, if you are a male, if you are a male, if you are a male. This is specifically for females. Worldwide for females. Bring your talent, whatever your talent is, big or small.
And we've said before, I would love another girl group because I think I've mentioned, in our YouTube videos that I was a huge 2NE1 Blackjack, and I still am. But I I would hate for them to do the same thing that some, I'm not saying all girl groups, because I am a fan of some girl groups today, that they've done with some of the biggest popular ones, where they make the girls, you know, go on crazy diets, and they're still unnaturally skinny, and they still put these crazy ideas in little girls' heads that they're supposed to look like that.
That's what's going to happen. I can guarantee
Some
that,
things
because
can't change right
It
away.
would be amazing if this worldwide search produces worldwide variety.
Yeah.
it
that
doesn't
would be
matter the
great.
variety. It doesn't matter the. So we can use the girl group. What are their names? I don't remember. The
Black
mixed-
Swan.
Black Swan, and how it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter your nationality or background. There's a form. There's a.
They still have to conform
They
to the
still have
perfect
to.
look.
Yeah, you still.
Yeah.
They still have to.
What I mean by
conform.
worldwide variety is different nationalities, different backgrounds, different mindsets, so forth and so on, but different shapes, different colors, different voices, different personalities. That we get a variety like that. That you don't quit, you don't try and conform, you just take the talent that they have and you concentrate on that talent, not trying to reform their size or their color or their
There's still,
pigmentation.
unfortunately,
or their,
a big
hair.
cultural divide, though, because
Yeah.
the beauty standards in Korea today are still.
That's what I'm
horribly
saying. They're doing a
wrong.
worldwide search. Don't do it. And one of the things I think we know about this the most, or I know about this the most, is because Hive US is the one I think that put that out, that worldwide search. But if you're doing a worldwide search, don't do it as like you would do an Asian group.
Yeah.
There is now Hive US. And there's Hive Japan and there's Hive Korea. Don't do if you're going to do a worldwide search, do not do it like an Asian group. Do not try and conform it like an Asian group.
But
But
that's
this is
what
Hive.
K-pop is.
This is
Korean
Hive now.
Pop.
Yeah.
It's like an Asian.
Okay,
thing.
so what I read, they're using the traditional pop idol type of form for it, which is not necessarily K-pop. It is the basics of pop, R&B, hip hop, so forth and so on. So if you're going to do a worldwide search and do it that way, and you're going to go back to the definition of what pop is, not just K-pop, then I don't see why you wouldn't.
You don't
not
see why
treat
they
it
wouldn't.
as a
I don't think
Korean
that
group.
Hive is going to go out of the box. I think that Hive
They're
is taking big
100%.
hits.
Yeah, that would
stuffing
be
it
very
back
surprising
into
if
a
they
box.
did.
Yeah.
That would be very surprising if they did.
They're 100% not going to go. Just by the way they treat the boys, they're definitely not going to go out the box.
I think we definitely need another new independent label. And to be fair, I will give a shout out to P Nation, who is still making that very independent, unique label. But I don't know what P Nation's plans are in terms of putting out new artists. Because so far they've just been promoting basically
What they have.
Yeah, who they have. And these are typically artists that come from agencies that didn't treat them well. Which is good for them. But I don't know. I just don't know what their future plans are. But I mean, who knows? I feel like the past two years have shown us that I have no freaking idea what's gonna happen. Truly, I mean,
don't.
But
We
I'm if this girl group is coming out, they gotta be good. They really do, because these girl groups out today are really, really good. And so
oh yeah, the competition's fierce, but
it's real tough. It's real tough.
I wouldn't know.
So
I
I'm
don't
hoping-
pay attention to girl groups.
So
I
I'm
really
hoping that they come with the mindset of being different.
but it is coming out of Hive once again.
So if you had to
Yeah.
speculate, and we're still speculating on the agency. If you had to speculate, our agency's new girl group coming out, not the one they're doing auditions for, but the one that is about to
It's debuting.
this year, who their biggest competition would be, who would it be?
Blackpink.
oh yeah, absolutely, that just says what that goes out saying.
And beyond Blackpink, it would be.
I think that all the other girl groups after Blackpink are basically on the same level. I think that they have
They really
around
are.
the same amount of popularity.
It's like that gap between BTS and Blackpink has a huge gap between them and the other girl groups. They've really blown up in the US.
Yeah.
versus the other girl groups not so much.
And I think part of that's because Blackpink was like very international to begin with. Like 2 or 3 of the members already spoke really fluent English before they even debuted.
Yeah, and they pushed them in that direction.
And they really had some good songs, some good catchy songs, and the money was there and pushed them, and they just blew up.
The reason I asked this is because you said there's a lot of fierce competition, and I don't pay attention to girl
I'm a
groups,
really
so
big fan of the group Mamamoo, but they're not as big as Blackpink. I think because they do not fully, not in the way that I would love, but they do push some differences. Like some of the members are older than you'd expect. Like they go past the traditional quote.
And Mamamoo has been out for quite some time, right?
Yes, Mamamoo is as old as 21.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're still going.
Wow, I didn't know
yes,
they were that
they're that
old.
old. And one of the members specifically, I think she's pretty much my bias at this point. She has gotten tons of flack over the past few years because she never went on those crazy crash diets. So she is curvier than the typical like Korean K-pop idol, and she always gets flack for it, but she just goes with it. She has like a very Beyonce inspired air about her when she performs. And that's also gotten her flack, especially at like all the Mama Awards and that kind of thing. Whenever they perform, they're a little bit more risque than some of the girls usually are, and they always get flack for it. But I appreciate them being different. And another one of the members, the rapper, she's very like non-typical gender conforming. She doesn't wear skirts. Like she loves to wear like suits and be suave. She loves that style, and the company has fully supported that. But I think that because of these differences, they don't have as big of a following as Blackpink.
And they probably could.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't have the pushing or backing or promoting probably as Blackpink have had. Blackpink, I believe, the intent for them was to
Be viral.
To be viral and be as big as they are, and they pushed that.
Save the
I
company.
feel like, I don't know, are they not from the same company? I don't know.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Plus, Mamamoo, like the members don't speak English. Like none of them do. So that's part of the.
And they're from a
international
smaller
thing.
company, must be.
I don't remember actually. Like what it has to
But
be
not
a smaller
from the
company.
same.
Yeah, they're not.
So,
from the
and
same.
they probably could be pushed. So that is, for me, that as you were saying that is, and still, we're on the agency and speculating on the agency. If this Korean-based agency, and they don't have worldwide agencies all around, can support differences in Mamamoo, then, I mean, my God, what was the point in HYBE going global if you actually can't do that or won't do that?
their idea of going global is all Asian, but Australian Asian, or
You mean
US
HYBE?
Asian, HYBE, Australian Asian or US Asian.
I mean, that's a
or-
bigger conversation though, because typically like
that's their idea of global.
I'm not Korean, so I could be speaking out of my butt. But typically, at least what I hear from other Asian people who aren't Korean, Korea still even has a racism problem even against other Asian countries. So if they can't even solve that, then of course it's going to be difficult to make a bigger leap. Like typically a lot of non-Korean Asian people who even go to Korean holidays still experience racism and discrimination, which again doesn't even make sense because they're like the nearest countries. But if they can't even get past that at this point, then going further is going to be difficult.
As far as HYBE, the agency, is concerned, if you worked this hard, if we worked this hard,
Right.
to get you worldwide noticed, you are not going to, in my speculation, you are not going to maintain it for several different reasons, and we've speculated why they would not maintain it and what their Achilles heel is. But now that we're talking about this, I feel like another one of their Achilles heels is if you are not going to come up to the times, because there's a lot of coming together of different ideals and cultures and mindsets and lifestyles. And if you are not going to come along with that, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to succeed with other groups and other, ventures that you're trying to do. You're going to have to come along. You broke through now, but you're going to have to come along with the times. And if you don't, you're not gonna succeed.
I think they're definitely going to be pushed in the next couple of years, because I think that these next few years especially are pivotal, because the boys' contract is ending up, they have to be thinking about what they're going to do next. And the pandemic is in this weird place where it can continue to morph, or we'll try to get over it again. So I think that with all of these huge factors, like, really, these next few years, anything can happen. But I think that whatever happens in these next few years will really set a precedence for the future after that.
Yeah. They are at a very vulnerable spot right now.
Yeah, because if the boys don't sign a contract in 2024, they're gonna be forced to, like, figure out what they're gonna do for revenue after the boys are out, whether they're ready or not.
Right.
And in company time, 2 years is not long at all.
It's not. That's a flash in the pan.
Especially with a corporation as big as they are now, the bigger you are, the slower things will move. That's just the reality.
Also, the bigger you are, the
harder you fall. Exactly.
Into oblivion, and people don't remember your name anymore.
And I truly don't think that some of the staff at Hype seems to understand what it was and it made BTS big, because they're not trying to do, they're not, I know that they're trying to do their next big thing, but they seem to be missing the point completely.
Well, they weren't taught. They weren't cultured into that.
Y'all.
They weren't. That's not what they grew up with. It's just.
And it burns my blood.
I mean, to ARMY, it is glaringly obvious why the boys are so popular. I mean, I don't think it's impossible to at least recreate partially if you just put people who are genuinely passionate, you know,
who
and give them a
understand
chance.
and know the culture of what we grew up with.
Exactly.
These individuals don't. They're not taught it. They're not educated on it. They're not, pushed with it. And so
which I think
it's
is
not gonna
insane,
happen.
because it's not like we're not K-pop idol experts, but I feel like this isn't rocket science.
It's not. But I think it's a culture that PD Neem realized this is not, I can't teach it. It's gotten too big, and I can't inundate everybody in this, company now with the culture that I, brought the family up
too
with.
big, too fast.
So that's why he bailed.
Fast.
He bailed. That's why he bailed.
And unfortunately, the boys are paying the price. I don't like it.
Well, we'll see what happens, but I think that we've made enough speculations for this one.
Yes.
Yeah, because we could go on with speculations.
We'll have plenty more in the future, don't worry.
And I think we have some things to talk about as far as our opinions and what we want.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
All right. Well, with that,
Now
you know ARMY.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Except
Bye,
Zoe,
everyone.
because she didn't say anything.
Oh.